Hey guys, how you doing? Can you hear me? Hold on a second. Okay, now I think you can hear me. This is Shane Grill, the Alaska Triangle. I wanted to get back to the actual story of what scared me to leave Alaska. Um, so this is number three of um, that story. Um, you know, it, I've been thinking about something, and it's really kind of bothered me quite a bit. And I've been thinking about the phrase uh, conjunctive distance. I think that's how you pronounce it. Um, it's where whatever you believe, whatever you were taught, whatever your belief system is. Like most most people I knew grew up in the church. You believe in God, right? Which I mean, the Holy Spirit lives right here. um, but I'm just trying to get to a point. So whatever your belief system is, that's what you're going to believe probably forever. And it'll be very, very difficult to believe anything otherwise unless you open and broaden your horizons, open your mind up a little bit, and think that there could be more out there. And if you think about that for a moment and just exit from your beliefs, it's very difficult to do it. I did it, but but it definitely took something very perverse to do it to me. I couldn't do it on my own. Um, the very first thing that ever happened to me, I was like 5 years old, and my parents would find me outside in the middle of the field in the middle of the night. And this was like, mm, I started school kind of late, so I should have been going to kindergarten by that time. But I wasn't in kindergarten. I believe my parents held me out for a year because of something that was going on. Um, Maybe they were afraid that I'd tell the teacher or something like that, is what I'm thinking. But I grew up in Chehalis, Washington, which is between Seattle and Portland. And kind of like the whole area is like a swamp. So it's like roads and the town built on top of a swamp, basically. A lot of rivers and swamps around there. So, um, excuse me, we lived pretty close to a swampy area. Um, and we lived in a trailer when I was 5 years old, on the side of a highway. So I mean, my mom and dad were freaked out anyway if they found me outside anywhere, because the highway was right there. There was logging trucks driving on the highway pretty fast. But in the middle of the night, um, I I I remember why I went out there. And when I was a kid, I couldn't explain it. I didn't have any words. And when I was a kid, I had a hard time speaking anyway, and mainly out of fear. I think um, I always kind of thought that my parents didn't like me, and so there's a lot of reasons why. But so when I was a little kid, I just kind of shut down, you know, and but something really perverse happened to me when I was about 5 years old. And but I'll tell you the side of the story right now, on my what my parents saw. So my mom would wake up in the middle of the night always and check on myself and my brother. Why did she do that? Do all parents do that? I really don't know. I don't. You know, I never raised little kids, so I would have to say I would probably check on them, if I was awake. Um, but it seemed like my mom always checked on us. She was really caring though. she's I could imagine having a different mom. And she passed away when I was a senior in high school. So you can imagine the effect it had on my life. Um, when I was 5 years old, though, my mom first noticed me outside. It was cold. I remember it being cold and remember grabbing a coat. Um, I would say probably in the fall, not winter yet. It's probably the fall. And back in 1976, the fall of 1976, my mom woke up, went to check on me and my brother. I wasn't in the room. I could imagine her being really freaked out, right? She probably looked under the bed, probably ran out in the living room, and I wasn't in there, and the door was open. She's probably like, "Holy shit, he went outside. I hope he didn't go to the highway, right?" So she probably ran and grabbed my dad. They grabbed flashlights and ran outside screaming my name. Probably. I don't remember hearing them scream my name, and they probably ran outside. One of them probably went one way, and the other one went the other way. All I remember is my dad walking up behind me in the field, and I don't remember him walking up, like literally physically walking up. All I remember is him grabbing my shoulders and him saying, "What are you doing out here?" And I turned back and I looked at him. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I turned back and I said, "My friend brought me out." And he said, "Who's your friend?" I said, "He's right over there." My my dad had a gun, and he told me to go back to the house, start walking back to the house, and my mom would find me. And and then I said, "Don't hurt my friend. Please don't hurt my friend." And I was more worried about my friend than I was worried about going back to the house. We're talking 3 o'clock in the morning, cold outside, rainy, kind of drizzly. Washington has always been, is always like that. Um, I mean, geez, I mean, what's my friend? Is what they're thinking. Could have been a wolf, right? Bigfoot, right? Um, and so I start walking back to the house. I hear a couple gunshots. I'm in tears, because I'm thinking my friend just got shot, right? And I thought, oh my god, my dad just killed my friend, and my mom um, found me walking back to the house. She saw me. My mom was in the driveway. I could see her running towards me, and she was frantic. What are you doing outside? She's trying to be nice, but also frantic. So I'm sure you've seen that before with your parents, or you know, it doesn't take much for that to happen. But what I did was pretty bad. Um, and then so they took me inside. My dad was crazy mad and telling my mom that he needed to talk to her about something. I guess it was my friend. Um, and so I asked, I was crying and I looked at my dad. I said, "You didn't kill my friend. You didn't hurt my friend, did you?" And he was like, he said, "We'll talk later about it." And and he walked back towards like the bedroom, but he had to work in the morning, and he worked at a sawmill, uh, lumber mill. He was a call it, I can't remember. He did the lockout thing where you walk around different parts of the factory, and you put a key in a machine. It's like, I guess he did security. I guess that probably is what we'd call it. I really don't know. That's what he did. He always carried those keys around on a big ring. Yeah. Um, and I was always kind of curious about it. When I was a little kid, I didn't know what he did. And so, anyways, he just smelled like wood all the time. um, so my mom sat me down at a chair in the kitchen, and she got she got down on her knees and looked at me, and she said, "What were you doing out there?" And I told her, I said, "I was outside, seeing my friend." She said, "Who's your friend?" And I said, "I don't know his name." And I just kind of had that blank stare look, because I was thinking about my friend and wondering why I didn't know his name. Like, she goes, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I don't know his name." And she said, "Okay, Shane." She goes, "Do you know what he looks like?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "What's he look like?" And I said, and I couldn't explain it. I couldn't tell her what he looked like because I had that conjunctive distance thing going on. Am I pronouncing it right? And is because I was raised a certain way to believe, whatever my parents taught me. And I'm not really raised. I was like 5 years old. So raised to 5 years old to believe what they want me, however they want to mold me, right? And at the same time, you know, I became friends with something else. You know, it was so friendly that it lured me outside. You know, and I can never get over the fact that that actually happened. You know, and it changed a part of me. Like I still believe in God. I still have my beliefs, and I know when I pray that the Holy Spirit, dances inside my soul, and I can feel it inside me. And I feel like I'm protected. Um, is that just something that I just learned because I was told that's the way to believe, or is that really happening? So, with that conjugate distance um, going on, you really have to think hard, dig deep. And, of course, I believe what I believe, but is it real? And so, so then my mom was like, Shane, she pulled out a piece of paper and a pen, and she said, Shane, I want you to draw a picture of your friend. And I started doodling on a piece of paper, and I didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to draw it. And she was looking at me, and she said, Shane, you're not drawing anything. And I just started crying some more, and just kind of looking at her, and I said, I don't know how to draw it. But I didn't understand why I didn't know it. It wasn't like some special force holding me there and not letting me draw. It was that conjunctive distance, right? Sure. Because it holds you back based on your beliefs and what you know. And what you know is what your brain has seen and learned and seen over again and over again and over again until it becomes a memory. And then it makes it, then your brain starts breaking down all those different memories. And so you know exactly what an elephant looks like, right? You've seen it in a book, you've seen it at the zoo, you've seen it on TV, you know, it has a long trunk. So you draw that long trunk, right? But is that really what an elephant looks like? or is that what you're told what an elephant looks like? You know, what if an elephant also had, you know, what if an elephant also ate people? Maybe it was a carnivore and it ate people and chased them down, you know, across the safari and just pulled them off the bus and ate them. You know, would we be told that? Right? Probably not. Right? Um, we I would say I know for a fact that an elephant eats um, whatever vegan animals they eat, raw vegan animals. They eat grass. They eat fruit, and they eat um, they don't eat meat. They're not carnivores. But are they carnivores? Could they be one? Maybe we just don't feed them meat. We don't feed them animals, but would they eat them? The first time in my life, um, I saw a deer, like recently, I saw a deer eating a bird. Oh yeah, it picked it up. At first, it sniffed the bird. You know, I didn't know what it was sniffing. It was just sniffing and looking around. It was probably like, "Oh, I hope no one sees me doing this." There's grass all around. He could have easily ate all the grass, right? But he didn't. He picked up the bird. I could see the wing hanging there, and he started eating the bird. Oh yeah, I'm telling you the truth. And that was like recently, and I'm 48 years old. I've never seen that before. So the deer is a carnivore, right? Has to get its protein too, right? um, and so that's it. Very interesting to me. So, so would an elephant eat meat? It probably would, right? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, as far as I know, when humans were first evolving, they only ate fruit, like coconuts, coconut meat and coconut water and fruit, mangoes and stuff. Um, that's what I heard. I read that somewhere actually. I heard it a few times. And then when something happened, some famish. I'm not very good in my history, so maybe you can coach me. But then again, it falls under that cognitive dissonance. I'm going to believe what I see. I'm going to believe what I hear. I'm going to believe what I'm taught. I'm going to believe what I read, right? And that's what's going on with all this fake news. You're going to believe it because you were told to believe it, right? And you're conditioned to believe it. Your whole life, every day, you've been, fed the same channel and heard your parents say, "Oh, I love them. I love that channel. I love them. Only watch this channel because we love them. Our family loves them," right? But we're being fed something that we haven't a clue if it's real or not. How would we know? Unless we're there, unless we see the facts, right? We don't know, you know, we our race believes whatever we're told, right? So when someone does see like a Bigfoot or an alien, they don't know what, they can't describe it, right? So I was 5 years old, you know, I didn't know what to describe. My parents were thinking there was some dude standing outside, some guy, neighbor guy, or they didn't know. They didn't know. They're scared to call the police. They're scared that the shrinks would come and take me away probably, or they didn't have a lot of money, so they're probably scared that you know that the city would take me away, right? So they never called the police, and they were freaked out. Um, so um, my mom couldn't get me to draw a picture. And then she offered me an apple. She goes, "Are you hungry?" She hands me food and she brings me over water. And I was in a fog. It wasn't just that I couldn't draw it, it was because I was literally drugged. I was in a fog. Years later, like last year when I was delivering papers, um, I got fogged a couple times. When I say I got fogged, like I noticed it right away. Like I'm driving down this desolate highway. I'm the only one on this highway all night, right? Um, I mean, every once in a while, maybe a semi truck would go by, right? Uh, but other than that, it was just me. And I started noticing, like putting together like a trail. Like I would see this orange haze really low, like going across the road as I'm cruising down the highway. I'm like, what is that orange haze? I would drive right through it, just through it, right? But soon afterwards, I would get really, really tired, and so tired I couldn't even drive. I literally had to pull over on the side of the road somewhere and sleep. I'd lock the doors and go to sleep. And I'd never done that before in my life. I'd never just pulled over on the side of the road and slept. I mean, maybe no, you know what? I had that happen on me one time with my ex, and that's a whole nother story that you're gonna want to hear probably. Um, yeah, like you're really gonna want to hear this, but I've never had it happen to me where I physically felt tired without being hazed or drugged. Um, and it it kind of freaked me out. I thought, why am I so tired? I'm just sitting here throwing a paper out the window. Why am I so tired? I have to pull over and sleep, right? Because I used to drive truck long haul, and I drove all night long. Like I drove my route was Denver, Colorado to Laredo, Texas, and anywhere in between, right? And I ran Tyson chicken account, so I would have to run at night, and there was no mountains. I know you're thinking, wait a second, Denver, Colorado is on top of a mountain. The route I went, there was no massive mountains where you had to wear chains. Um, and I was 70,000 pounds. You stick to the road pretty good when you're 70,000 pounds. I drove brand new tractors and lived in Hawaii. They would fly me to, it'd fly me usually to Portland, Oregon, from Kauai, Hawaii. And I would drive for 6 weeks and they'd fly me home for 3 weeks and back and forth. I did that. I was their only Hawaii driver. And I'm a good driver, though. I averaged 680 miles a day, every day. So you can imagine, yeah, they're going to fly me. Um, I mean, I pulled more miles than most team drivers pull. So, anyways, back to the story. Uh, my uh, my mom was totally freaked out. Um, they s- the next day they put a chair in front of the door, like a big heavy one that I could not move. They're like, oh, we're gonna block him in. He won't be able to go outside. Well, that night, guess what? They found me outside again in the middle of the field, same spot, staring at the sky. That's what I was doing. I was looking at the sky, looking at the pretty lights. I was doing. And the next night, same thing. The next night, I think my dad or someone was sleeping in the chair. I just remember someone sleeping in the chair, and I couldn't go outside, and I felt the pulling, like something was pulling me or calling me, definitely calling me outside, and I couldn't go. So I remember I went back to sleep. I went back to bed. Um, and then my dad put a padlock on the inside on the door, and then just moved the chair. left it in this spot so they wouldn't have to move it back and forth. Um, I don't remember. I think it was the first day actually when they put the lock on. They found me out in the middle of the field again, and the lock was still on the door, and that's when they really got freaked out. You can imagine, right? Your son's being abducted a lot, and they never took me. You know what they did to me, I don't know. I don't remember because of the cognitive distance, right? I mean, animals have that too. Like a cow. Let's go with a cow. A cow will just be sitting there in the field chewing on the grass, right? Just who knows what they're thinking about, you know? I mean, not much. They're probably like, this grass isn't too bad. Just, you know, thinking about where they're going to get the next grass or whatever they're taught, right? They go over and get their next grass. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm getting kind of thirsty. You know, a real simple life, probably, right? I doubt they're thinking about, oh, that's a good idea. I wish I had hands. I wish I could build that. No, they're not thinking about that. It'd be like us thinking about, wish we had wings, right? So, wish we had wings on our back. And wish I had hooves. Right? I wish I had hooves. Anyways, but that's, you know, that's the conjunctive distance. People and animals are they do what they're told, you know, what they learned. And so an animal acts differently when they're trained by a person than if they weren't trained by a person, right? True. So um so everything in your life, you know, it's hard not to I mean, it's really hard to accept something else going on when you're trained one way, right? So, um, so my parents, I don't know how many times I did it, but a few times they would still find me outside with the door locked. And one day, my mom just was like, "Richard," which is my dad's name, "we're we're leaving." She found a farmhouse like out even further out, but away from that area, and we just packed up and left the next day, kind of moving. And I knew why. I knew they were freaked out, and they treated me differently after that. You know, they acted like they were scared of me, and which definitely changed my life forever. When your parents act like they're scared of you, um, well, you don't get any more hugs, no more kisses, right? No more snuggly with the parents. You know, they treat you different. They treat you, you know, and then you know they not just treat you different, but they're more angry, and they will be more angry towards you, like it's your fault. You know, it's your fault that they feel the way they do because they're so confused, they don't know how to react, basically, because of what they learned, the cognitive distance, right? Um, and then they're seeing something different in their life, you know, a little child that they loved, you know, is no longer they're that that kid's now mysterious, and you know, they feel like that kid doesn't trust them to draw that picture for them, what the friend looks like, right? You know, because my mom kept saying, "You can trust us, Shane. You can trust us. Just draw it. Just we just want to know." And I couldn't explain it. I just didn't know how. You know, now I know how, and still have the memory, right? Um, and you know, I mean, when it comes right down to it, we're all just like a loud rat anyway, right? Um, the older I get, the more I see and the more I mean, I've been seeing interesting things my whole life. I mean, ever since I was like 5, right? Once you have that part of your brain open, which was open for me when I was 5, you can't just turn it off, you know? When something is out of place and doesn't look right, I pick up on it like that. Like, I'm, like, looking at it like, "That is not supposed to be there. What the fuck is it?" You know? "I see you. What are you doing laying down? How come you're so quiet? How come you're not moving? What the fuck is going on here?" "How come no one else sees it?" You know? No one else sees it because of the cognitive distance. That's why. You don't see the pictures I'm showing you because you have the cognitive distance. You can't see it because you don't know what you're looking for. That's why. You need to know what it is. That's why sometimes I draw an outline around it. It'll help you open that. I've had people where I've taught them how to open it, how to just forget about what you're learning and think outside the box for a minute. It's hard to do it though. It's hard to make that transfer. But once you do, there's no going back. You might not want to be down that rabbit hole, and it will open up a whole new life for you. You know, you think your life is boring now, it will not be boring no more. It will be scary because there's monsters everywhere. Sometimes I'll be riding in the car with my, whoever, and I'll see something. I'm just like I was riding with my brother heading towards Longview, Washington last year. Was it last year? I think it was last year. It might have been the year before. And I think it was last year. We're heading towards Longview, Washington to go to the Bigfoot Festival. And and I noticed something was tracking us down I-5. And he lives up in Olympia, and we're heading south to Longview, which is towards Portland. And and I was like, at first I thought it was like a bag, like one of those white shopping bags blowing in the wind, right? But it wasn't. It was like, like right next to the highway, just driving driving. It wasn't really driving. It was floating the same speed as us. My brother drives like 80 miles an hour, and it didn't blow away somewhere else. It was tracking us. Yeah, you know, and it was like the size of a basketball. It was pure white and shiny, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" And when you see that, you're thinking, "Why is it tracking you? Does it track everybody, or is it just tracking me? Are they watching me to see what I'm going to do?" You know, if they know I'm telling you this stuff, are they going to, kill me, take me out of the equation, kidnap me? I really don't know. It could happen. It definitely could happen. And you gotta think, is it so perverse that I shouldn't say anything and just you know, let them, do whatever they want to us? I mean, they will forever anyway. I mean, there's too many of them. They're too strong, and we don't even know what the fuck's going on. There's not enough of us that are open that can actually see. So it's like it's like a field of cows all eating grass. But then with the one little 5-year-old cow is just like, I see something, you know, and that's probably the cow that gets picked up by that UFO, you know, and where they find the cow just all drained of its blood, or um, the cattle mutilations, why do they do the cattle mutilations? Yeah, I've never understood that. I mean, they're so I don't know. It's hard for me to explain now. I'm 48. I've seen everything. You know, I've seen everything, and you know, I hope to God, when I die, there is a heaven I go to because I don't want to come back here. You know, this could be hell. It could be in. We could be in hell right now. This could be hell. It could be. It's just a scenario I'm give thrown out there. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. There's a lot of negativity going on, and you know, the nicest nice people that I've ever met always end up dying. And go missing or get taken or whatever. Fall off a cliff or the nicest people always go first. That should make you wonder. Why is it always the nicest people? Maybe some assholes do too. I don't know, but I just lost a friend recently, and I mean, we weren't really close. We weren't like following each other on Facebook, but I knew her, and I used to hang out with her at the beach in Hawaii, and I lived in Kauai in 2014, and I used to hang out with her on the beach there in 2014, and sorry, my nose is kind of going wild and crazy. It'd be them tickling my nose for all I know. Um, that just came on. But I know I'm not crazy. Like I can function. You know, I'm at that point though. Like I have a hard time um, focusing on real life when when that crazy stuff is actually happening. You know, I have a hard time. Um, you know, I wonder why other people don't see. Or they don't want to see. I wonder why they don't want to see. Like me, if there's something out there and it can kill you and it's mysterious, don't you want to know what it is? How could you not want to know what it is? You should know what it is, how it acts, what it does. Does it pack a gun? You know, it's capable of taking you and flying you away. Where does it take you to? What does it do? It hurts your family. It hurts your friends. Don't you want to know what it is? Hey, there was a point in my life where I didn't want to know what it was. No, I was like, fuck, I don't want to die, right? I still don't want to die, but nobody does, and someday it's gonna happen. How? I can't tell you. Someone will probably say, "Oh, he died of cancer," or whatever the reason is. Um, and it might be cancer, yeah. But what if it's not? It'll be cancer for what we know what cancer is. But what if it's like I've been poisoned by a farmer, right? And it's cancer to us, and makes it okay, right? Maybe I got fogged with some kind of poison that gave me that cancer, right? Kind of like the Democrats um, whipping up their fucking potion and gonna force feed you to take it. They don't even have to force feed you. They're gonna say, "All right, vaccines are here and they're mandatory. That's all they have to say. And most of the cattle are gonna go running. They're gonna go stand in line with their masks on. Like that protects you from something. If there was really a virus, people would be wearing rubber suits all the way up with a big rubber helmet with glass, and the rubber helmet would have a zipper on it and a couple flaps, like scientists wear when they're working with a virus. People are just dumb. I don't know. It's not that they're dumb. It's the conjunctive distance. It's what we're learned, what we're fed through the fucking TV, what we're fed through the fucking computer, what we're fed through all of our cell phones all the time, the constant feed, and what our friends and our family are watching. We're going to believe that shit too, because it's our friends and our family. Why wouldn't we believe it? Cognitive dissonance. Same with aliens and Bigfoot. You're not going to believe it unless you see something that freaks you out, or you hear something out in the woods that couldn't be a scream from a wolf, couldn't be a scream from a mountain lion because it's too loud. A mountain lion couldn't do that. It sounds like King Kong out in the woods. You know, and I wish sometimes I wish I could share with you exactly what I've seen. Um, but sometimes, I don't want to pull myself into that scary scenario either. Um, so that thing that I saw, that I thought was an owl, and it wasn't an owl. It had I thought it was what I thought it was. I thought it was a one of those horned owls, and I didn't even know what a horned owl was. I mean, I've heard of horned owl. I thought they had horns on their head because it's called a horned owl. I looked it up, and it was like feathers that looked like horns. Well, what I saw had horns. I mean, they looked like a piece of bone with like fur on them, and they're like kind of bent out, like kind of bent out like this, and they're probably 15 inches long, pretty big. So the whole time I'm looking at it like, oh, that's a horned owl. I'd like to see its face. Oh man, that's a cool carving. I'd love to see its face. And and when it wasn't a carving, I bumped that wall on it, which you can see from on my other video. How I bumped the wall and it jumped up and opened its wings and opened its mouth, and it wasn't a beak. It wasn't a bird. Birds have beaks, right? That's what we're told, right? It wasn't a bat, you know. It kind of had a bat kind of look. Um, but the face was like the only thing I could say it was like is something I've seen in the history books, and that would be a gargoyle. And it was tall, at least 4 feet tall, 4.5 feet tall, maybe. And and that thing would have killed me. It would have killed me if I would have walked up to it, probably, or carried me away. That's interesting, right? I mean, it was big enough to carry me away. Its wings were huge, like a small aircraft. Um, and it's just scary, wow, there's something out there like that. Well, here's the thing: there's more than one of them because they have to breed, right? And it wasn't a bird, and I'm telling you right now, it was alien. It was an alien. Okay, so, and the reason why I can tell you that right now is because I continue to deliver those newspapers. I was like a month and a half into it, and a whole another month went by, and I during that month I started seeing those things everywhere. So once you see, you're always going to see. So I didn't notice it right away, when I first took the route. Did I not notice it because it wasn't there? Or did I not notice it because of the conjunctive distance? I think I think it's that. I didn't notice it because of conjunctive distance. And so I think there's things there, but we don't notice them because, we're not trained, or our eyes aren't trained to notice them, right? That's what I think. And I have a lot to say that bases it on that um, hypothesis. It's not a theory. I've been thinking about it a lot though over the last year, and it's not a theory; it's a hypothesis, and I think it's happening. I I'm like 100% believe it's happening. Um, I think that aliens could be. I'll say aliens. Or I might call him the farmer. Okay, like we're the cow. Okay, the farmer, whoever's in charge of us. Okay, they're alien to us for sure, right? They shouldn't be. Not if they're always corralling us together, right? So I think the farmer does not know what a TV or our computers are. I think they probably know that we're getting smarter. Um, but I do believe that they have a purpose of, you know, why people are being abducted. When people get abducted and they come back, they're like, "Oh, I was abducted." They had something so perverse happen to them that it scared them so bad they actually their mind opened up, and they're like, okay, this isn't what I'm taught, this isn't what I'm told, this isn't okay, something's going on, and poof, it all opens to them, and they start to see what I see, and it can be scary. um I'm not crazy, I can still function in the world. uh I'm not. I've seen some weird shit though, I'll be honest. It definitely has had definitely has changed my life, um, and not really in a good way to tell you the truth. Um, I parked my car inside right there. You know, look at that. Park it right there in my kitchen. I live in like a warehouse. I'm in the Alaskan Triangle. That's why my channel, I'm not trying to copy the channel name with that TV show. I don't give a fuck about the TV show. It's cool. They, create some really cool, um, you know, characters, like the Otter Man. I've seen something that's like the Otter Man, and I took a picture of it. And I don't know if I shared that picture or not with you guys, but I can share it with you if you're curious about it. Um, and it's just the stories. Some of those stories sound pretty real to me. To you guys, you're like, oh wow, that. Can you imagine if it was really like that? I'm telling you right now, it's really like that. Okay. Um, in just Alaska Triangle alone, more than 67,000 people have gone missing in the last 20 years. 67,000. Why they go missing in the Alaska Triangle? Well, I can tell you why. Because there's more of those aliens up here. Um, they're out. They're out there in the mountains. They're mining for gold. That's what they're doing. I see it. I've taken pictures of it. That's what they're doing. They're mining for gold. You can't see them because you're way the fuck out of your vision, and you're not looking for it. You just go buy a fucking telescope and start looking for it. You're gonna see them, and then you're gonna be like me trying to explain it to some person that has cognitive dissonance, which is almost literally impossible. It's interesting, and that's why you'll follow me because you want to know more. and you're open to the idea of something different, and you know something's going on. You don't know what, you can't place it, you can't place your finger on it. It's because you haven't had anything happen that's so perverse that it changes your beliefs. Um, I don't necessarily want you to see what I see. Most people, I don't know if most people can handle it, to tell you the truth. And the more you see, the more you're going to see. That makes sense. Like, if I notice something, like, say for instance, this spider crab thing I noticed. Um, the first time I saw it, it was near Olympia, Washington, near Capitol Forest, which is a state park. And yeah, I was taking pictures in the state park. I didn't know it was illegal until recently, until I started watching Missing 411. I didn't know it was illegal to take pictures in the state park or a federal park or to shoot video. Did you know it was illegal? I didn't know that. I didn't know that until like 2 days ago. And I'm just like, huh? Illegal to take a picture in a park? Why is that? Does the government know about them? Do they have a contract? You know, that they can live in a state park and federal park, and you know, maybe they have a contract. They can take as many people as they want out of that state park or that federal park, but to stay out of the cities. Maybe. Is it possible? I think anything's possible. Is it probable? No, I don't think the government knows who they are. Honestly, I think that's why they created the UFO space program recently. Because they started seeing UFOs. You know, people think it's a thin veil. You know, created from fog or smog, and chemicals in the air, and that like it's a world on top of our world, and that veil is getting thinned, and so we're seeing stuff. Well, it could be, but how would you can't argue the fact that people are being taken. So if it's not a thin veil, they're actually here, right? Um, I think they're out in the woods, out in the middle of nowhere, like the state and federal parks, because it's so far out. Most people don't go there, and they can be themselves, without constant harassment, by the military or something, right? I think that's why they're out there. And they don't get visited by a lot of people because only hikers and stragglers, right? I'm not talking people are weak on a hiking trail. I just mean, you know, hardly any people, right? And so if there's 500 of them, and we're talking they are monsters. In your eyes, they're a monster, okay? In their eyes, they're just like you are to me, right? So, um, but if there's like 500 of them and they got ships that fly, unlike anything we have, then why wouldn't they take that one person walking along on a trail, to look through their bag and, you know, to understand what they are. It'd be like a 500 of us and one little alien walking along the trail. What do you think is going to happen? Whoever's in charge of the 500 are going to be like, go get him. Oh yeah. So why wouldn't it be the other way around? All right. So back to the story though. So what scared me to death, that made me quit my job, was what I saw. These little aliens. I'm gonna call them aliens because that's what they are. Okay, they got horns, kind of like a bug, like an ant. I consider most of the aliens I've seen a bug of some kind, and a big bug, so big bugs. And they're hairy, so kind of like a Bigfoot, right? Big and hairy. Um, and they probably eat whatever they can find anytime, whatever, whenever, and wherever, right? But they also have a job to do. They're smart, very smart, and a lot of them are like scientists. A lot of them are out researching and exploring and trying to figure out what we are. I would say they're probably trying to figure out our anatomy and everything about us. So, with that said, I would drive. I'd be driving along doing my newspapers. I drive. I drove a black car, low four door. I'm flying down the roads pretty fast because I know where I'm going and I know there's not going to be anybody. All I'm watching for is moose, right? Moose were jumping out all over the place, and or bears or whatever's going to run out in front of me. And so I, since I saw that that one on the fence, I started seeing them all over the place. It's kind of like when you buy a car, you know, you see this car and you're like, oh man, that's cool. I never see a car like that before, and you buy it. You're gonna start seeing them everywhere. Okay, same thing. Um, so I started seeing them everywhere, but I've seen them on people's porches. I've seen them hanging from screens, like just hanging on the screen on someone's window, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? And I didn't want to slow down to where it would see that I'm looking at it. I I would slow down enough where I could keep going and not stop. Because I did notice they did notice when I slowed down to stop and just sat there and stared at them. And it took a little like trial and error to figure that out that they fucking knew that I was watching them. So, but they also knew I had a job I had to do. So they were smart enough to know that I had to keep going and do my job because I kept coming back every night doing the same thing, right? Um, and they probably have the cognitive distance as well, right? So um, I like that word. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I like the meaning of that word. And so it didn't take much for me to figure out that he wasn't just hanging on the fucking screen. He was trying to pull it off. Oh yeah, he tried to pull the screen off so he could open the fucking window so he could go in. Right. I've seen them walking out of people's houses. You call the police. You can't. The cop would come and he'd have the cognitive distance. He will not see what you see. So he'll be looking at you like you're crazy. You can't call nobody. You know? They know there's UFOs, they know there's aliens, and you can file a report with MUFON. Whether or not MUFON does anything with it, they might think it's too perverse for them even. Um, and I have a story from March. It was March 30th, 2013. Um, a reptilian alien came to my house, and I took 96 pictures of it and a couple of videos of it. This is 2013. I was living in Olympia, Washington at the time, and I was asleep. It was like I don't know, like 3:30 in the morning, and I know a lot of threes, really. I don't know if I don't know if I believe in the whole number thing. I have the cognitive distance from the numbers. Um, I'm not. Um, um, I don't know everything. I definitely don't know everything. All I know is what I see. So something was trying to come in my door when I lived in that little farmhouse in Olympia near Mud Bay, and I had the old tin doorknobs, that rattle. and it was an old house I rented in the middle of the field, a horse field. And when I went into the horse field, I'd have to open the gate, drive in, get back out, close the gate, to keep the horses from going out. And I lived in a tiny little farmhouse, 1940s. It was right up against Capitol Forest. I know the Capitol Forest thing keeps coming up. Um, and the reptilian did come out of Capitol Forest. So I got a whole bunch of pictures of it. 96, I think, with the Samsung Galaxy S3 Note. And that was a popular phone back then. It was a good phone. Took great photos. That thing, it was it was huge. It was bigger than me, taller than me, and I had one of those doors. Doors like one of those panel doors, and the top panel was glass. So I did notice that alien was bigger than me. It was stronger than me, thinner than me, and taller than me. Had big eyes. It was a reptilian. I didn't know what it was when I saw it. I didn't even know what a reptilian even was. I saw it though. I think he was surprised. I, it was definitely surprised that I could see him, but he also didn't treat me as if I could see him. He treated me like I was at the zoo and I was the monkey because it had a kid with him and they were both looking at me like I was just in a zoo. And we might be. We can't leave this planet. We don't know how. We're confined. They're not confined. They can go wherever they want. So in a way, we are in a zoo. We're at a destination spot where we can be observed and tested. We're in a field. We are cattle. Cows can't leave their field. We can't leave this planet. They can. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm the animal in the zoo, and I'm standing there taking this photo. He's probably like, I think I'm taking this photo, but what if I'm not? What if in my head I see I'm taking this photo, but in his head I'm holding a stick and waving a stick at him, right? That's the conjugative distance. Oh, I can take it way down the rabbit hole for you, and I probably will. And in our minds, we're staring at a computer. In our life, our small little existence, we're able to shoot a film and have you watch me live. I think I only have one person watching me. Um, so what I have to say is pretty perverse, but it's real. You know, so I'm not surprised there's only one person watching me. It's the conjunctive distance. People don't want to hear crazy stuff that they don't believe. They don't. you know, maybe what? If I was on like Joe Rogan or one of those, any podcast, really, it wouldn't be one. It'd be like thousands the next day and thousands more because then they would start to believe it because they saw me on TV. And I learned that because I used to volunteer at Small Business Development Center in Olympia, Washington. And my phone's ringing. That's my cousin. Um, so they would, they'd, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I volunteered at SBDC, and and they, I couldn't help people with their small business outside of the building of SBDC. Now, the manager of the SBDC and the director, they're awesome people, and they asked me to be there to help people with small business developing, and I help people think outside the box. I helped with creative marketing, and I helped with patents. Uh, Dude, I'll you back. Um, Jeez. Sorry, Chris. I know you're gonna watch this. Maybe you're the one that's watching me. So, anyways, sorry. I don't want to lose my train of thought. So, yeah. Anyways, the conjunctive dissonance is pretty perverse, and it can definitely take you pretty far down the rabbit hole. Um, so this reptilian was staring at me, and I just thought, this is weird, and then, oh, um, it did this thing. It had like these leather straps that went over its shoulder, and then it had this big round thing like right here. And the round thing shot an image on the glass. It was like a hologram. And the first image that popped up, populated on the glass, was a photo of a priest. And you could see its little head, little white hair. You could see the collar and the little white thing on the collar, and it went on the glass, but his head was behind the picture, the priest. And he's like this, and it went up on the glass, really tight on the glass. And it was nice picture of this priest. So the priest's face is up there, and to me, it looked like Bob Hope. I was like, Bob Hope is a priest. What the fuck? It's on the glass, and then as soon as I saw it pop up on the glass, I heard the doorknob rattle. It was like, I looked down at the doorknob. I was like, fuck that. I ain't opening the door. So it's treating me like I'm still that 5-year-old kid, right? Is that what took me when I was 5 years old? Well, I'm not ready to tell you yet. So, um, so there's this hologram of this priest, and he's rattling the doorknob. The whole time I got my cell phone. I'm taking pictures. I'm taking pictures of it populating onto the screen, and then disappearing, and then the next thing populating on the screen, which was a clown. I hate clowns. I think they're creepy as hell. When I saw the clown, I was like, "Oh shit, a clown!" The clown had like it was a really beautiful painted face. To tell you the truth, I was like, "Whoa, that's actually nice looking." Had a little fake bird in his hair and big white teeth like mine, you know. And when it smiled, you could see big white teeth. It was like that, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm so creeped out." And I was like, "No, I'd shake my head right at him. Nope, nope. I can see you." I'd go like that. I can see you. I'm not gonna open the door. And that door had three big locks on it. I always wondered, why is there three big locks on this door? Well, I think I know why now. And and the owner of that house, he told me, he goes, "Oh yeah, the last person just up and left." And that's why he gave me the lease. Like, I got into that place pretty quick. And he didn't know why that person left, because they were there for like 7 years. Well, I think I might know why. um, and so um, that hologram left, and then there was another hologram that popped up on the door, and it was a hologram of a laptop, and on the screen was SpongeBob, of all things, and then SpongeBob is dancing back and forth. So we're talking, it's got electricity, It's a hologram, right? So batteries in it maybe or something. Um, and it rattled the door every time it populated a picture. I was just like, oh my god, this thing is wanting me to open the door, so I would go with it. And back to those things that were not owls in Alaska. Um, they did the same thing. They have a hologram, and that's how they get people to open the door by showing them things that people feel comfortable with. You know, and it'll be an image. It could be an image of your mom. It could be an image of a ghost. It could be an image of of a bear or a moose. You could look out the door and go, "Oh shit, there's a moose outside. Let's go out there and take a picture of it. Yeah, yay, yay!" And you run out there and take it. Whether you come back or not, I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with your DNA. Maybe they're harvesting an organ. Maybe they need an organ for organ transplant, or it could be a Hollywood star, or it could be someone with the government. Maybe your blood matches somebody with the government, and maybe your life is shitty. Maybe you live out in the middle of nowhere because you know whatever reasons you're still being taken, whatever the reason is. And some people are found, but most people are not ever found again, ever. And that reminds me of I don't know why it reminds me of this, but I had this account with Tyson's Chicken, and it was really interesting. I always wondered why I had this specific account, but there is these two places in the country I would go to. Um, Usually, I went there twice a week, and it was one was in Tennessee, and one of them was in Kentucky, and so I would pick up chicken, frozen chicken, down in like El Paso, Texas, way out in the middle of nowhere too. I'm talking a plant that isn't even on the map. I swear to you, it's not on the map. Because I tried to Google map it when I first took that route, and it took me somewhere else, it took me someone's house, and so I had to follow their directions that were fed to me to get to this plant, and it didn't say Tyson chicken on it anywhere, and but I still went there. It was my job, right? And cognitive distance. And so I'd get there. I'd usually bobtail in there. Usually they'd have me drop a trailer somewhere, and then I'd just go and scoop up a trailer um, with a lock on it. Always had always had a tag on the back with a number and a lock. It wasn't my lock, and I wasn't allowed to open it. Uh, and then I would drive it to Tennessee or to Kentucky, in way out in the middle of nowhere, some field. First time I got there, I thought, oh, I don't think I'm in the right spot. And I couldn't GPS it. I had to look at a map to figure out where it was. And so I'm driving down this 2-lane road way out in the middle of nowhere, and I pull into where I think it is, and it's a rock quarry. I'm like, this is weird. Big pile of rocks. And then I see a little paid like toll booth way station. I'm like, maybe. I was thinking, okay, well, semi trucks must pull in here to deliver rock or pick up rock, so I'm okay. I can turn around and leave. It's a safe place for me to pull in because your pre-approach is everything when you're driving a truck, and because you got 70 feet and about 70,000 pounds of weight, and so um, some trucks are like 110 feet long overall. So, anyways, but I pulled in and I said, I don't know if I'm in the right spot. And she goes, "Oh yeah, you are. You're in the right spot." Because she read the door and the trailer number, and she knew, they have an account, right? And so she goes, I need your cell phone. I said, "My cell phone?" She goes, "Yeah, I'm sorry, we don't allow pictures to be taken." And she goes, "Just stay in your truck, and somebody's gonna ride with you and tell you where to go." And I'm like, "This is new. Okay." I've done interesting deliveries similar to that before, where I had a delivery where I was delivering gold, precious metals, gold, platinum, silver, for Bose, the people that make the speakers, and they call it high class delivery. So I did a lot of those for years, and I would have to go into Bose at one spot. It was a gated entrance where you drive in. They take your fingerprints, they run them. You're sitting there waiting, and then they tell you to go to the bathroom. You're like, I don't have to go. They're like, we want you to try. So you go in there, you try to go to the bathroom, and then you just kind of take your time. And these guys are wearing like suits, and they have guns on them, and in their back seat is just guns, like machine guns. There isn't even a back seat; it's just machine guns, and they're all placed with these Velcro straps, and uh, and then next to their mirror, there's like Mossberg shotguns, like shotgun here and a shotgun here. And guy sits here and a guy sits here. The car's weird looking because the whole thing's bulletproof. Um, and you're going to be pulling a trailer that's precious metals. Trailer feels different. It's heavy, or like really heavy. I had drop down axles, so I usually pulled like 120,000 pound trailers full of gold and silver and who knows what. And so I'm gonna go back to when I was at the rock quarry. So a guy jumps in the truck and he's like, "Okay, go this way." And then my first time there, I was like, "Where am I at?" He looked at me, goes, "I can't tell you. Just you're not supposed to ask questions. Just stay quiet." I was just like, "Fuck, where am I going?" I'm driving my truck. But the whole cognitive distance keeps you from asking questions because of what you're told. Authority type person wearing a badge and a suit tells you to be quiet. Well, what are you going to do? So we pull into this tunnel, and the tunnel was all carved out, like it had massive pillars, and the pillars were like everything was carved out with one machine, and it was like carved out from like one piece of solid granite rock, and there wasn't like the pillar wasn't like brought in there. It was part of the rock. It was intense. It was so big. It was as big as a city inside. And he goes, set your truck at Jake brake 2, and he said lock it into third gear and go down that hole right there. And I stopped. I said, "What?" He said, "Lock your gear into three, and put it on Jake brake 2 and drive into that hole." And I just thought, "Oh my god, what am I doing?" So then I saw a sign that said 6% downgrade. It was a skinny little fucking hole. My truck, I mean, I literally had to pull way the fuck out like this just to get in there straight. So I went in the hole, had my high beams on, had my LED lights on, super bright. I mean, I made a daylight in there, cruising down 6% grade. It's loud because echoing inside the tunnel. The Jake brakes on. So I go down, and I looked at my odometer when I started, and I went down exactly 3.5 miles down. Now that's pretty far, I think. I don't know, you know, I'm 3.5 miles into the, into Earth. We come out of this big area, and he says, "Okay, I want you to go down there to Bay K." I just remember it was like A, B, C, D, down to K. So I went down to K, and he said, "Okay, I want you to back up. I'm gonna open the doors." And he said, "Don't come back." He goes, once you see the doors are open and I go like this, I want you to bump the dock and stay in your truck. Just, pull the brakes on." So I did, and I stayed in the truck, and he went inside, and I could feel a forklift back there. And anyways, they unloaded. It was pretty quick, quickest unload I ever had. I was like, "Cool, I'm done already." So, because I normally take a nap, but I couldn't sleep. I was just like, I'm 3.5 miles underground. And so he brought back signed paperwork, and he said, "Let's go." So we climbed back in, and we drove up, and pulled across the way station thing. And she hands me a paper, my receipt, and she hands me my cell phone. She said, "All right, see you in a few days." And that was it. Boom. He climbed out. I left. And I just thought, what the fuck was I carrying? Tyson chicken? 3.5 miles down? I don't know. Maybe. Uh, you know, could have been humans for all I know back there. Could have been missiles. I don't fucking know what I was carrying. Could have been anything, to tell you the truth. I continued the route. I went there twice a week. I went to the other place twice a week too. It was just like that, but just different. Didn't go as far down. Um, there was more trucks there. There was the interesting part about these places were all the trucks that were there were making deliveries, and we're talking 70,000 pounds each, right on the dot. Like I wanted to go through a weigh station. They're like, "No, we got weigh stations outside right here." Like the end of Tyson, you can weigh it right there. You pull the trailer out of Tyson, and or I don't even know if it was Tyson. One place I went to was Tyson. Maybe it had a sign. The other one didn't have a sign, and so I pull up, put on the scale, and it was like almost 70,000 pounds on the dot. And they knew what they're doing. They didn't want you to stop anywhere, and so I did that delivery for a long time, and I don't. I still don't know what I was carrying. Still don't know. On the paperwork, it says frozen chicken. I didn't see it. I know it was frozen because it was in a reefer, and the reefer's on, and I had to make sure it said -10 on it. And I had to keep fuel in the reefer unit. That's all I know. And then I was the delivery guy. So I don't know what it was, but here's the perverse side of it. Um, there was usually like 100 trucks there. A lot of people were sleeping, waiting for their time slot to go in, and they were all owner operators. They, I was working for a company, so I knew what time I had to be there, and I was there on the dot at that time. If I got there early, I'd pull over somewhere, take a nap, wake up, drive in on the dot. So um, we were always scheduled time slots, and so here's the perverse side of it is all the trucks were going in. Nothing was coming back out. Nothing ever. They didn't even have a dock for loading for out. All the all the docks were unloading to go in. Into what? Was it deep freeze of some kind? Was it a processing plant? Was it You know, was it a galley? Maybe. Was it a galley to feed who? And it kind of pulls you into like other people's beliefs, like the hollow Earth theory. Does someone live in center of the Earth and they have to be fed by our government? By who? So it raises a lot of questions and concerns, of course. Questions I really don't give a fuck about. I don't. I'm not gonna research it. You know, I was the driver, and I still didn't know what was going on. So I've had a lot of interesting things happen to me in my life. I was paralleling a quantum, you know, universe for sure. Uh, was I picked for the job? Maybe. Um, but I can tell you there's a lot going on that you'll never know about, that you don't know about, and you might not even believe if I tell you. So um, I'm gonna leave it right there. I mean, I've been talking for an hour and a half, so I have a lot more to say. I mean, I could shoot 200 videos and and take you deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. So, and I probably will. So, if you like my channel, subscribe. I am disabled, so if you like my channel, um, maybe you could get some of my merchandise, help me out a little bit. Um, I don't like begging, and I won't beg. I would rather be sleeping in my car, homeless in the Alaska Triangle, than beg. I'd never hold a sign, never have, never will, and I can't beg. I am disabled though. I would drive truck right now if I could. I can't. For one, I have high blood pressure. I can't pass the medical exam. Um, my blood pressure is really high, and I take blood pressure medicine. you know, I wonder why my blood pressure is so high. To tell you the truth, but I am overweight. Why am I overweight? Did it have something to do with my knowledge, what I see? Am I overweight um, because I'm scared of something? There's a lot of different things you can think about. Is why is this guy overweight? Do I sit in front of the computer too much? Am I lazy? I'm not lazy. The reason why I'm overweight is because of my knee. My right knee is destroyed. I injured it. The first time I injured it was back in 2006, and they closed my claim. Said, "Oh, we think you can go back to work." My blood pressure was normal then. I went back to work, uh, and then I injured it again, and then I kept injuring it over and over and over and over. And you get caught in this vicious cycle of you're paying L&I thousands of dollars, and then you expect them when you get injured to use that money to help you get fixed, right? And you think, oh yeah, my knee's destroyed. My doctor says it has to be replaced, and you think, okay, no problem. They're going to replace it if the doctor says it, right? They fight it. Yeah. They'll send you to an IME, independent medical examiner. The IME doctors are attorneys call them hired whores because they're not, they're a book doctor, but most of them they'll lie to you. They'll tell you, oh yeah, I do surgeries on the weekend. They don't. They're book doctors. They went to school. They got their master's degree in their doctorate, but all they do is look at you. They might poke at you a couple times. They might press on your head and ask you if that hurts. It's all a test. And then they write this shitty, fucked up report saying there's nothing wrong with you and that they think it's a pre-existing injury, and then they close your claim. Boom, done. And and then getting your claim open is literally impossible. So there's a lot of Americans walking around limping and in pain and sore all the time. Um, over in France, their taxes are higher, but medical's free, so everyone um, gets their surgeries. It's not really free because the taxes are raised up; they're paying for it. Um, some things are good about that system. If you're injured like me, you're thinking, "Oh, that's a great system," but some things aren't good about that system, and that's a whole other video I can go into another time. I probably will. so, so subscribe to my channel, buy yourself some merchandise. I'll design some other cool stuff too. Some of my merchandise wasn't accepted, and I never copy merchandise. I always create my own, and I create my own logos, and I put them on the shirts and hats and things. And I wear them. I wear them. So if I can afford them. The thing now though is like my rent's due like right now, and well, today's the 26th, so yeah, it's basically due right now, and my rent's like $1,000 a month, and I'm just like, oh my god, I pay rent, I'm gonna be like literally broke. I won't be able to afford to buy fuel or nothing, and then I worry about next month. What am I gonna do next month? I live in cold Alaska. I'm hoping to God that people like what I'm talking about, like they like my stories, and they want to listen to my channel, and maybe buy a hat. you know um but I am worried about my future, definitely. I can't get a job because no one will hire me. uh Trucking companies, they have to run your license through their insurance company to see if the insurance company will carry you. They run your background and everything. And I've never had an accident, no tickets, and I have over 2 million miles behind me. And I know that because I got a certificate from the California Highway Patrol in 2017 that says I drove 2 million commercial miles, safe miles. And so they run my medical through their insurance company, and it kicks it back and says, no, don't hire him. And the reason why is because my knee. They know my knee's injured. They know how bad it is. If they hire me, then I'm gonna I could have another accident, and it would definitely cost them, hundreds of thousands of dollars that they don't want. Plus, their premiums would go up. And so I'm stuck in that vicious cycle. Um, in order for me to get a job, I have to get a job with someone that's self-insured, and where they can't run my medical background. And so that's very difficult these days, especially with COVID. Um, and no one's hiring, and so I'm in this building. It's like a commercial storefront building, and there's a coffee shop out that way. And I'm going to build a kettle corn machine, and I'm going to sell popcorn and kettle corn all month. And I have a deep fryer, and I already got health approved. I got this whole spot health approved. I got 3 basin sink, separate hand wash sink, and I'm going to sell fry bread. Hope the God people around here like it. I mean, I'm in a tiny little town. At any given day, there's probably less than 4,000 people. Um, Anyways, if you like my channel, subscribe. I'll be talking about all kinds of things that have to do with Bigfoot and aliens. and leave your comment. If you want me to talk about anything certain, ask a question or ask me to talk about it. If I don't know anything about it, I'll tell you I don't know anything about it. Um, if it's really far fetched, I would never attack you, never, because I don't know, and I do know that I don't know things, and that things are not at all what we think. And the whole conjunctive distance thing. Look it up if read what it's all about. And so I would never attack you. If you have a story and you're afraid to tell people, you can email it to me. And my email, the email address I have on there is liferawks1 at gmail.com. It's just the number one. So it's liferocks1 at gmail.com. LIFERAWKS1 at gmail.com. That email is I only use it for this channel right here, and that's it. So if you want to hack it, all you're gonna do is hear stories from people. So, but if you have a story that something happened to you and you're scared to talk about it, I'll read it. Much like the How to Hunt guy. Steve Eisdale with How to Hunt. He reads like Bigfoot stories. I want to hear stories of abductions, things like that. Anything to do with UFOs and aliens. If you have a story or a Bigfoot, whatever weird thing that happened to you, send me your story. If you want me to say your name, I hope so, because I want people to know. I want them to know the truth. So make sure you have a latitude and longitude on there, or I won't read it. People need to know exactly where things happen, because some people keep maps and they'll pinpoint like where everything happened, and they come up with their theories, their hypothesis on something. So everything that I share, I'll tell you exactly where it was if you want to know. Some things, my pictures, you'll see a latitude and longitude. It's because I pulled it off of Google Earth. And you can, go on Google Earth, punch in that latitude and longitude, and probably see what I saw. If it's still there, I don't know. Like UFOs, sometimes they park and they just stay there. Like that purple one, you might be able to see that one. It's in Idaho. So subscribe to my channel. If you can afford it, buy a T-shirt. You know? And I will definitely produce one or two videos a day. Okay. All right. Be safe out there. If you go into the woods, pack a gun. That's really the only thing that's going to save you. That crab thing that's like a spider, if you shot it, you'd get away. I would definitely pack a little pea shooter in your pocket, like a little 22 that just, if the spider thing grabbed you and wrapped you up in its web, you won't be able to move, right? Not very much anyway. But you might be able to move enough to pull something out of your pocket, little 22 pistol, right? So I usually pack a 45 caliber right here and a 22 pistol in my pocket. Just a tiny little fucker. They're cheap, like $300. You might be able to find one for cheaper than that even. And then I always carry bear spray. It's right here, actually. I have it right there because bears come up to my door right here. Oh yeah, last night, every night they come up and sniff. You can hear it, and they're sniffing to see if you have food. Oh yeah, I live in the middle of nowhere. There's the grizzly bears here are as big or bigger than a Volkswagen Bug. Okay, I ain't shitting you. I want you. If you don't believe me, I want you to go on. You're already on YouTube, so click on, and just type in Alaska grizzly bear. Actually, there's one that you should see that's not too far from where I live, and you type in Ranger Station bear, Ranger Station, comma bear, and you'll see how big the bears are where I am. All right, peace. Love you guys. Subscribe to my channel. Share if you want to with all your alien Bigfoot friends, and get ready to jump down a rabbit hole you've never ever heard of. These guys. I don't know how I end this. Here we go. All right. Later.